Good morning, everyone. You said you would be. There you go.
Right here.
Go. Oh my gosh, this thing is driving me crazy. I'm trying to fix it and it just won't work. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am the badass Buddha coming to you from Southern Connecticut, where it has just been raining like crazy, thunderstorms. However, nothing like where Gladiator Guru is.
No.
Good morning, my friend. How are
Good
you?
morning. Buenos días, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita in gloomy Tampa. We've gotten like a lot of alert messages and stuff like that. But the good thing is that we had some rain yesterday too, like skipped off the power and stuff. But it's really gonna start for us tonight, early morning. For tomorrow morning, so we still got time to fix things. Fix it! Because you know what? When you can't fight it, join it. And that's it. And make an easy transition with it. Do all you can and sit back and stay in prayer. Father God, please. End up like Dorothy on the yellow brick road. You just never know.
Hey, but listen, that would be an interesting, I'm telling you, every time I mess with like Facebook, I don't get it. Messing with Facebook, and it's like, I'm not finding us. Usually it pops up, review changes of your page. Oh my goodness. I don't want to review now. And there's nobody on. Is there a reason why there's nobody? Usually we got somebody on by now. This is ridiculous. All right. I don't know what's going on. All right. Maybe they thought we weren't coming on. I don't know. Today is Tuesday, right? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, today is.
All right.
Let's
go ahead and
well, I text Lil.
Let's go ahead and share. Let everybody know that we're on.
What's on?
Hey, listen, if you and I just talk, I don't care about that, right?
With no commentators.
Oh my goodness. Hold on, everybody. We're just sort of getting situated here since we were waiting for people to come on. And I do see some eyeballs that are coming on. And I'm trying. Why did they update? Oh my God. Why did they update? Now I can't find my own page. Isn't that ridiculous? Oh, yeah. Isn't that terrible? Now I can't, they do these updates and they think they help. And sometimes it is. And then other times it so doesn't.
Well, change is difficult. It's like when you learn to remember the remotes back in the day, mi gente, when you learn it and then all of a sudden they change all the channels. Hola, Milagros, buenos días. So, that, and you find, good morning, Miggy, you find that every time you're just adjusting, you're learning to live with something, you've adjusted, it changes.
Yeah.
And that's across the board from the remote, like I was speaking of, to love. Like you finally look at the person you've been with for 10 years and you're like, oh, I do love him. He is the best thing. He's been so patient with me. And all of a sudden he wakes up and says, I don't want to be with you no more. See, change. And that's how change is. It goes from one side of the spectrum to the other. But the one thing that should always remain the same is you and your courage and your passion of self to always go past it and move forward.
That sounds fantastic.
Arlene and Darlene, good morning.
Arlene and Darlene. Sorry, we're just a little out of sorts this morning. It's they switched a bunch of things on Facebook, so it was really hard to figure out where we were going.
Oh, now that you say that, I've gotten many calls from different people, and Iritza is one of them who said she no longer gets the alerts from Viva.
Okay.
So we went on to see, like I was on with them, but no, they wasn't.
Well, you know what? Then sometimes they do this. They've done this before where you have to redo it. When they do an update, you have to redo it. Good morning, Georgianne is in the house. Georgianne was so kind. She hung out with me on Friday while I was doing my yard sale, and we talked for like, what was it like? It was like a couple of hours, Georgianne. That's what it felt like, right? And you, thank goodness, you kept me company. I really enjoyed it.
That's wonderful.
So, yeah, if you're not getting the alerts, you might have to redo it, because that happens sometimes with
Redo what? What?
you
Because
just have to say that you want to be alerted again, like you update your notifications.
update. Okay, mi gente, you heard that? Yes, it's because several of them have also mentioned that they don't get the alerts to my blog, and so I'll say, well, any feedback? Because like you get them, right? You get the alert, you get the email, because some
Yes,
people say they
but
haven't gotten
you
anything.
haven't but you haven't done one in a while, right?
The last one was 1,000 Years of Tears.
But when was that? Like a month ago, 2 months ago?
Probably.
I think I got it. I can't remember.
Yeah, but some tell me that, like my niece and my granddaughter, they tell me, you haven't written. I said, of course I've written, and they just said they didn't get the alert. So I think I did tell them as well to go out and come back in, because it's always good when you're like, I'm gonna try this again. Go out and come back in, and that's how we must do. That's how we show up for ourselves as well.
Okay, that's better.
When
So yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
when we enter anywhere and we don't like what we see, but we have to be there, whatever the reason may be, go out and come back in. Take a deep breath and come back in. I think with everything we learn, right? We learn before we rise. We learn before we rise. We learn. It's just
Ebb and flow.
but the important thing is, are you willing to grow with each step you take? And with each step, is if you're related to me, you're gonna trip and fall. So every time you fall, your favorite poet, Maya Angelou, with the I rise and still I rise. That's how we gotta look at it. Every time we fall, we learn, one, that we're stronger than what we were yesterday. We learn that fuck that, I ain't staying down here. I like the view from up there. And then we learn what not to do the next time to fall again. And if it's out of your control when you do fall, you still seem to rise. So let's always remember on the rising part, not the falling. Vale?
And that's true, because we do focus on the falling part. So let's just get some technical stuff out of the way first before we do set the intention and do the mantra. So there is a huge hurricane headed right towards Gladiator Guru. It is supposed to make landfall tomorrow. Thursday, I am flying out with my children to go to California for a few days for my nephew's wedding. And we have Melissa Rusiano, who was a guest last month. She's coming on to guest host with Gladiator Guru for Take the Leap on Thursday, which is the culmination of everything that we've been doing in September. Every single show culminates to Thursday's show. Now, if Gladiator Guru loses power, the show is going to have to be canceled, because I'm going to be in a plane. I can't do it. And so what we'll do is make the show Take the Leap for Tuesday, the following Tuesday. And then I'll be back at that. Well, I'll still be out in California, but I'll be back on. But if she has power, then you will see her and Melissa Rusiano, which will be great, because Melissa's so wonderful. But that's just the game plan. So we're just letting you know. So if for some reason you get up and there is no Viva Cafe con Leche coming on, then you'll know that it's because it had to be canceled. And I don't think would even be in a position to cancel it. Like, I don't think I would even be in a position to say, like, post something to say it's canceled, because we won't know until last minute whether or not Gladiator Guru is going to be able to get on. So with that, and good morning, Tiffany Bryan's in the house. Let's do our mantra. Let's set our intention, because I see Lillian is on and we want to bring her up so she can talk more about her upcoming event. All right, so here we go. We, as usual, with Viva Cafe con Leche, we set the intention, and our intention is to be intentional and
grateful, filled with
so
gratitude.
set your intention to whatever that may be today. Set it as often as you need to. Reset if you need to, and make sure that you do it with
Gratitude.
That's the game changer. All right. Our mantra, here we go. Say it loud, say it proud. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And I am beyond authentic.
And I keep it real.
All right. Woohoo. All right. So let's get Lillian in the house and we'll get everything posted up. So Lillian, you are on.
Great morning.
Beautiful
Great
morning. It looks nice in Orlando.
It's overcast and we're just waiting to see which way Ian turns.
Are you there? Like, are you going to be there for the next few days or are you flying out?
I drove down here from South Carolina and I came down here because my daughter visited from California. She was supposed to be here till Thursday. She flew out yesterday.
I don't blame her.
And my mom is in Puerto Rico and I don't want to leave my dad alone. So I'm riding it out with him.
It's so beautiful.
Yep. I agree.
I really like that.
Let me tell you about the gala.
Tell us.
For those of you that do not follow us, please follow Ajusta Tu Corona on Instagram and Facebook because today I am going to be announcing the start of our performers and I am super excited about the performers that we have this year. They are professional singers and they have donated their time to this cause and I'm so excited. So, the gala, as I stated before, is October 22nd, 2022 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it is an amazing event. It is for women of adversity focusing on domestic violence because unfortunately, domestic violence is a national epidemic. It has reached all-time highs. The shelters are overcrowded. They have had to turn women away. Trying to help these women find a place to stay, provide them with any funds for them to feel they're sleeping in their cars with their children.
Yes.
And to help them, to assist them is almost impossible. So they're going back to their abusers. Something has to be done about this. So our gala is raising funds for Help Now of Osceola. It is a shelter for women of domestic violence. They assist them. Some of these women spend an average of 51 days in a shelter trying to move on with their lives and not have to go back to their abusers. We need your help. It is, like I stated, a national epidemic. It is just getting worse and worse and worse. Instead of getting better, we read about it in the news every single day. A woman is not safe at her own job. Why are these protective orders not working? Why does a man have the right to walk into a woman's employment and kill her at her own job site where she should feel safe? There is so much going on, and we are just starting to chip away at this. We need your assistance. Please, if you cannot purchase a ticket to attend yourself, we want you to attend the event. We want you to see what it's about. We want you to understand what's going on and come away filled with joy to see all of the moves that we're making to try to help with this cause. The tickets are $125. We ask that if you are not physically in Orlando or if you are not in Winter Park and cannot attend the event, such as if you were in another state, please find it in your heart to purchase a ticket for a woman in a shelter. You can go to givebutter.com vivacafe.com/ATC2022. And this will bring you directly to our donation and ticket page. We ask that anything that you can provide, anything. We're looking for sponsorships, we're looking for dedications in our program for our event. If you know someone that has passed away, I know everyone watching this show knows a victim of domestic violence or knows someone that knows a victim of domestic violence. That is how serious it is right now. Please go to
Really.
givebutter.com ATC 2022. Sign up as a sponsor, give a dedication, anything that you can give. Buy a ticket for a woman in a domestic violence shelter. I would be forever grateful, and I know they would as well.
Now, quick question though. There's also where, let's say everybody watching the show wanted to donate $20 per person. Would that be like, that would be also like a grand gesture that would also help
Absolutely.
a family?
Absolutely. This weekend, I was at a cookout and I went around saying, can you afford to donate $20? Can you afford to donate $20? And they did. They went in. So when in that same page, tickets and donations, at the bottom it says, I'm not interested in sponsorship or purchasing a ticket. You can click on there and donate whatever you can afford to donate.
Yes, yes. It's I don't know why I emotional. Maybe or maybe it's the weather, but I think that with every bit that we give, because we do have, we can chip in. I think to save a life, the denomination it's either $125, 20, anything in between, or do a dedication in your booklet for someone who they know passed away. That's like paying for half an ad or an ad, depending what size of the dedication. I think if this is, we need to put it out there. People are dying. What is it? Every 3 minutes, women are being murdered with domestic violence. I think that to give for this event and to help out, I think that's like giving the gift of life to somebody.
Yeah.
And whatever amount you give, you're still assisting in that service to humanity. So
When they visit the page, there is a complete um letter and paragraph written about the event. And on that, in that paragraph is, the tax ID for tax deductible, for your taxes, and is also the link. If you know us personally, DM us. We'll be happy to talk to you, tell you more about the event, take your dedication, and all of it is on ajustatucorona.com. That's our website, but if you go to the same thing on Facebook and the same thing on Instagram and send us a direct message, I'll be happy to call you, explain to you, tell you more about it, whatever it is that you need to know.
and for the ladies out there, when we're like, oh, I need a vacation, I need a vacation. Take a mini vacation with us on October 22nd,
Yeah.
2022, from 10 p.m.
Absolutely.
to 2 p.m. Get dressed up to do your hair, makeup, put your big hat or your fascinator hat, and come
Yep.
check with a room full of not
Bring
strangers,
your husband. I
people
would
who are
love to see.
listening, right?
Bring your significant other. This is an event where a couple could actually dress up together. The men can wear their paperboy hats, their top hats, their shorts to the tea party, whatever. It's an amazing event for a great cause.
Yes, it's entertainment. There's activities. There's food and dessert and photos and videos. You know what? Spend 4 hours in October just smiling and cheering that laughter. And let's save lives. The bottom line is let's go and save a life.
Yep.
Thank you guys. Forever grateful.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You
Lillian.
as well. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
All right. All right. So
Carmen has something. Yes, Carmencita. So far so good. Keep your prayers going. a positive attitude always gets us through the day. So, buenos días, Chanel. So, yeah, that was good.
Good morning, Priscilla. Priscilla's in the house. All right, so let's get rocking and rolling because I have got to go take my kid out to the bus stop shortly. So let's get the conversation started. And this is today's conversation is the last question that we're going to ask before we get to Thursday's conversation, which is take the leap. Hopefully you will have been reviewing every single show that we've done in September. And if you have not been following along, answering the questions, go back and do it. You have, just because we're going to be talking about it on Thursday does not mean you can't get this done and even go into the weekend and finish. Okay. So ask yourself those questions. What did we say? We said, what are you not seeing? What are you not saying? What are you not hearing? What are you not feeling? We talked about forgiveness takes courage. And now today's conversation is, what are you not doing? And within all of those things, when we were asking you those questions, we were saying things like, what in your life are you truly not seeing, hearing, saying, feeling? How is it affecting your life? And what are you going to do about it? So if you've been following along and doing that, you should have really been doing like at least creating a list of what you're going to do about it. So now today's conversation is exactly that. It is, what are you not doing? What are you not doing right now? What have you not been doing the whole entire month that we've been doing this? And again, how is it affecting your life? And what are you going to do about what it is that you're not doing?
And when you do it, let me tell you something. Out of everything we've talked about these last couple of weeks, and it might sound good, and when you say it out loud, it's like you just put on a nice satin gown and you don't have a fupa and everything's perfect with the world. And that's fine. But I'm here to remind you, don't lie to yourself. If you say you're going to do something, if you're going to work on you, if you're going to listen better and talk less, if you're going to speak truths and kindness filled with gratitude, if you're going to walk a mile in your own motherfucking shoes, and if you're going to be courageous enough to forgive, make sure you're doing it from someplace within. There's so many fake people out there. The hypocrisy is just, it makes me want to gag. So let's start off with everything that we've spoke about these last couple of weeks. Make sure when you speak them, you're speaking your truth. You're not lying to the point that you've lied so far and so long that you're actually believing your lies and get defensive when somebody calls you out on your shit. So number one, as always, as we've spoken since we started this show, which has always been my number one, nunca te engañe. Don't lie to yourself. Because you're only hindering yourself and pointing the finger at everybody else. And that gets kind of tiring. People don't want to be with you. It kind of makes people want to not like you that much to be around you. And then you're wondering, what did I do? Well, look in the mirror and start speaking truths to yourself. Be truthful with yourself. Shed light on the dark areas of yourself, because you can listen to everything we have to say and then go pay a coach. They're going to tell you the same shit we are because we're coaches. And then you're going to go listen, sign up to a webinar. They're going to be saying the same thing. And if you are not changing from within, none of this is going to have any effect on you. So the lies might have sounded good in the beginning, but it's going to take a minute where you're going to believe it, and everybody else is going to be a liar. And then you're going to wonder why you're alone, or why you? Why me? Well, why you? Just take a good look into why you. And that's why we did all of this. It's not about for you to get along with people. It's for you to get along with yourself, understand yourself, discover yourself. It's like you're like the ocean. And we go through life only knowing 10% of what we're capable of doing. And it's time to take that deep dive into who the hell you really are, because I can't tell you. I have a hard enough time telling myself what I'm doing. So you gotta be dedicated to yourself, because then when you give, you're giving from the heart. You're not selling your favors. You're not selling your kindness. When somebody wrongs you, you're gonna say, "Oh, I hope they get over whatever it is they're dealing with," instead of saying, "I can't believe they did that to me." You see, it's like the I will versus I'll try. I don't know versus
Oh yeah, try is just not even
yeah.
worth saying.
That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
So carry on. What you were gonna say, badass? I gotta get a pillow because I feel like I'm sinking in my chair.
I don't know what I was gonna. Well, let's put it this way: it's what are you not doing? Is it's the action, right? It's the action piece. So if you're, and this is what happens, like we have the ability to finally wake up and hear things and see things. So that's what we've been bringing you up. We've been working you up to that level of, okay, let's face it. What are you not seeing? What are you not hearing? What is it that you're not saying to yourself and to other people? And what are you not feeling? Because, and all of it was because you wanted to avoid it. You didn't want to deal with it. You knew that a change needed to occur, and that's why you didn't want to deal with it. So once we get past that, that's the awareness piece. It's becoming aware of it. What are you not doing is the taking action. See, we can get to that piece, and we've done it. We've all done that before. We've gotten to the piece of awareness where we say, I see this happening. I know this. This is what's got to change. I got to do this. I got to do that. But how long do we get stuck in that loop of I got to, or complaining about your situation? The thing is what are you not doing? What is it that you know that has to be done, and you know that the reason you haven't done is because you've been dragging your feet, because you know it's going to take a lot of faith, it's going to take a lot of courage, it's going to take a lot of energy, and it's going to cause a major change in your life, a major shift in a lot of things, including with other people. And you've been dragging your feet because you know it's going to rock your world and everybody else's world. And the reason you know this now is because all these questions that we've been asking you, you've felt it in your gut this whole time, and you have been purposely suppressing it because you didn't want to deal with it. Well, once you start dealing with it, you start to feel it bubbling up, and then it becomes to the point where it's gnawing at you. And that's telling you, I've got to take action. And taking action is not easy. It's scary because you don't know what's on the other side. You're at that doorway. You're standing on the threshold. You've opened the door, so you've figured that piece out of it, and now you can't see out the door. You don't know if there's a drop. You don't know if there's like danger out there, and so you just stand at the door. We're telling you now is get ready, because you got to take that leap, which is Thursday's conversation. And the only way to take that leap is to first acknowledge what it is that you're not doing. Are you not happy in your job? Are you refusing to look for one? Okay. How many times have you heard people say that, or maybe you've said that, where you say, I can't stay at my job. I want to make more money. I don't want to do this anymore. And you complain and you complain. And then somebody says, well, why don't you get another job? Oh, well, I can't. Did you even try? Have you been throwing out resumes, applications? And if you say, yes, I've been throwing out, and I like what people say to me, oh, yeah, I've been throwing it out. How long and how many? Well, I sent out one. What does that mean? It's just one. So you have to think of the bigger picture and say, oh my God, you know what? I have to be realistic here. If I don't like my job, then I need to start looking for another job. If I think I'm not qualified for something, then I need to do something to help me get qualified to do something. There's so many free trainings out there, or very low cost trainings. Oh, but I don't have the time to work and do the training. Make the time. You know how many people go to work full time and go to school part time? They'll do it for years, knowing that they want to get that degree to get them to the next level. My dad did it. My dad did it for years, where he was only an associate's degree, but he did it. He would go to night school while he worked. And this was back in the day in the 70s, So you can do this. And so it's, what are you not doing?
What are you not doing is taking a good look at who the hell you really are. Freckle Face, good morning, eh? Piritas in the house from Puerto Rico. Listen, it's all about what you want to do and take accountability for it. When you acknowledge what you're lacking in life, then you make a plan, or you go for it. If you know exactly what you want, what's holding you back, just go. It's like free falling. And it's like, who is going to stop you and who is going to push you? That's all you. And I think when the majority of us will grow into ourselves when we stop holding other people accountable for our fuck ups. When we stop blaming people, well, because you didn't do this back in the day, I wasn't able to do this, or because of this. Stop. I put a post yesterday because I'm always talking about this. You know, I've listened to a lot of mindfulness stuff all over the place. I miss you too, Freckleface. When I get to Connecticut, I'll call you. We'll have coffee. And they're like, well, your environment helps set who you are. Well, I know if you're like me and you grew up in Bridgeport and the East Side, Father Panic Village, parents were alcoholics, always front row seats to domestic violence. When you're raised in that atmosphere, of course, you can grow up and say, well, because of my childhood, my lack of my basic needs, my lack of love and hugs from my parents because they were too busy being drunk, and all of this stuff, I could have went through life just floating on pity and accepting whatever was offered to me because I was a victim of my circumstances. You know, people, places, and things are all around us. It's how you decide to breathe it in. What are you going to make from the life, the one life you have? Like, life is short, but it is the longest journey you're going to be on. So why not choose to live it to the best of your abilities? And if you don't know what your abilities are, start spending time with yourself. What are you not doing for you? I think that's the whole message of this series. What are you not doing? What are you not saying, hearing, seeing, feeling? What are you not doing for you, Carmencita? You know, we're all going to meet up. We are all going to meet up at a nice coffee shop. Pistachios in New Haven, West Haven. What are you not doing? And when we came up with this series, we are very excited about it because it all points, the North Star is you. It's you, it's you, it's you. What are you not doing, saying, hearing, touching, feeling? What? We said forgiveness takes courage. It's in my Soul Searching for Peace book. Forgiveness takes courage. Forgetting takes a lifetime, which means the fact that we might go through life never forgetting people, places, and things, whether it was a dark moment or whether it changed us to become this abundant, superstar. People, places, and things. So what is it with that? What are you not doing for you? What are you not accepting in your life? What are you allowing to affect your life? Because remember, there could be 5 people in front of you, and 5 people could be kicking you, spitting at you, cussing at you, telling you 50 million ways how you're gonna die, and you could either start crying, get all upset because I'm not, or you can smile and say, namaste, motherfuckers, and go on with your life. So that's how are you handling, maneuvering, directing? How are you? How are you?
Thank you, Georgianne. Georgianne put that the bus was on its way, and I was like, oh crap, because usually it's like I have a certain amount of time, and it looks like, oh, I was looking at the wrong time. That's what it was. Good God. Thank you so much for pointing that out. I really appreciate it.
I thought you saw it. I saw it as soon as she put up.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. We literally like walked out, and then the bus was like next door. So I'm thankful for
Awesome.
that. All right. So what can we share about our own not doings and how that's worked out for us? Like, what can we do? I know you've always been a doer. I've been a doer too. And here's the difference. Like, God, this thing really drives me crazy that it doesn't. We sometimes get in the habit of saying, well, I did this, I did that, so I do things. You absolutely. We do things within our own comfort zone. We do things within our own bubble. Like we do things within, there's a book where they talk about the glass ceiling. We do things within the realm of what we're comfortable. So even if we get out there and do things and we say, well, I've done that. I've put myself out there. but are you still doing the same things? Are you really any different than you were 6 months ago, a year ago? So sometimes what we do is we fool ourselves into thinking that the things that we're doing are actually moving us forward at a faster rate, when in fact they're just kind of making us crawl forward a little bit, and sometimes we're just walking in a circle. So don't be fooled by the I'm keeping busy kind of deal. I'm doing stuff. I feel productive. Like, let's say remember, one of the things that we talked about is in the beginning is, what are you not seeing? Are you looking around your house, your garage, your attic, your basement, and saying, oh my God, there's so much crap in here. And you start to declutter. And we said that would be one thing that you could start to do, is declutter. How many times have you decluttered in the last 5 years? How many times have you gotten rid of stuff, thrown stuff out, had yard sales, sold stuff? But if it keeps building back up again, it's like Dante's Inferno. I don't know if anybody's ever read that book. And there was this one level where they would roll the boulder up, and then the boulder would roll back down, and it would roll and they did that for the rest of their existence, because I forgot what they were, which circle number and what they were in trouble for. But that's how you have to look at this. So you have to look at this and say, okay, I'm doing, but am I doing, is it more superficial? Or am I doing to really make the big change in my life? And I say this even within my own self. I had to look at that piece and say, okay, I keep myself busy doing these little things here and there, but am I being truly productive? Am I really moving forward in the direction that I need to move with my business, with my personal life, so on and so forth? And you could only sustain that for so long until it starts to bite you in the ass, because, your higher power is going to say, you're not going anywhere. I think you think you're going somewhere, but you're not. And then all of a sudden you're going to wake up and go, oh my God, my life is no different than it was 2 years ago, when you actually do open your eyes. And that's why we choose not to look at these things. That's why we choose not to hear, not to see, not to feel, because we know that the actions we're taking are really not getting us to where we really need to be. And maybe for some of you it is. I'm saying for those of us that are not. Okay. So that's, I'm sorry, I got distracted. I thought somebody was calling me for a second. It was somebody.
Oh, that's that. Yeah. And that's a good side. What in your life are you truly not doing, and how is it affecting you? Now, what the badass Buddha just said, many of us can relate to that, correct? Come on, in the comments, can you relate to what she said? Because it's very general, and it's a lot of times where we find ourselves, that location we find ourselves. But let's flip it. I'm going to flip it. What in your life are you truly not doing? I am not malnourishing my spirit anymore. How is it affecting your life? Well, it's help. How do you say that word? I can never say it right. Maybe it's because of the twist of my tongue. It's in a rising, risen. I can never. Anyway, it's lifted my spirit. Blah, how blah is that, right? So it's like, I'm not starving my spiritual awareness. And that's what I chose to do. And I called it, what did I call it, badass? Not self-isolation. It was just
Pulling
drawing
back. Yeah, pulling
people,
back.
places, and things.
Yeah, pause.
People, places, and things has always bothered me, but it had came to a point where it was like nails on a chalkboard. So I withdrew, and I was in my sanctuary, and I was fine. Many people accused me of being depressed, not speaking to me, but speaking to others, how they were concerned about me because I'm going through a depression and all. I approached that after the fact, but it really wasn't. Was there sadness? Absolutely. Was there fear? It's just me and all my 4 personalities, and I had to properly handle it all. So how did it affect my life? The understanding me at the level of rawness, of vulnerability. I had to face fears that I told myself I didn't have. Okay. The lack of mourning. I learned when my papi, with Eric and mommy, when my papi died, I was numbed. I never really cried for him. When Eric died, when I found him, of course, I found him. He had passed. I cried. That was it. At the funeral, it was the same thing as my papi. I felt like somebody, my friend's cousin, sister, invited us last minute, and I'm standing at somebody's funeral. Then mommy dies, and from the age of 6 to 52, I finally learned how to cry. Now I don't know who I was crying for. That was bothering me. People are like, oh, at least you're crying now. You've learned how to cry. You're probably crying for all of them. You don't know. I needed to know who I was mourning for because I needed to mourn. So if I just cried a bucket of tears, it was just going to be what, badass? A bucket of tears.
That's right. Yep.
So what I learned here was how to honor Papi, Eric, and Mommy. How they deserved it, como se lo merecían. So, and not that I've learned, don't get me wrong, how is it affecting your life? It's a lot of relearning. It is. So whether you're going through something, what in your life are you not, you're avoiding something that needs to be done, or you're actually buckled down, buttercup, and you went and are doing it, and it's just as devastating, as emotional, as scary as what you're avoiding. So either way you go, you're going to deal with the same emotions because they're yours and it's your life and it's going to affect you regardless. So the badass Buddha and I say, just do it. Blink your eyes, click your heels, snap your hands, do whatever the hell you got to do. But do it. You want to share a little bit about what in your life are you truly not doing?
Yeah. And before I do, though, sometimes we really get hung up on the how. So like maybe we do identify what it is that we do need to change and what needs to move, how we do need to move forward, that we do need to do things. And then we get hung up on, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And so the best way to do this is, again, it's all about awareness and identification, identifying. Ask yourself what it is that you want to do in your heart, what it is that you want to disregard what you think you should do or others think you should do. Disregard that. Disregard anything that you know is going to hold you back. Well, I want to do this, but my job, my this. Just don't say the but piece. Just say, this is what I want to do. You know, I want to write that book someday. I want to go on a world, tour vacation. Like you just say that, this is what I want to do. And that's like more, of the want list / bucket list. But what about the deeper stuff? Like, what do you want to do? Well, I want to go back to school. I want to change my career. We always follow with the but I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have this. So don't do that. Don't worry about the how piece. So say, what are in your life are you truly not doing? What are you not doing? Admit to those things. Then ask yourself, why am I not doing these things? Like, why am I not doing these things? And then say, do I really want to do those things? Do these things really need to happen? And if they do, then you say, this is what I want to do. And then this is why I want to do it. Don't worry about the how yet, because the how presents itself. The moment that you gain the clarity to say, this is what I want, this is why I want it, things will open up for you. And you have to also understand that you have to be open to the process too. You have to be open to the possibilities. If I said, I want to change my environment and this is why I want to change it, I can't sit there and keep myself closed off to any possible things that come in. The minute somebody says, well, what about this? I say, no. Well, what about this? No. What about this? No. So guess what? That means that I'm closing myself off. So what am I truly not doing? I'm truly not changing my environment. I'm truly not moving forward. How is it affecting my life? I'm stagnant. What am I going to do about it? The only thing that I can do about it is I've got to stop getting in my own fucking way. Yeah. And that's what's happening. And so we have to become very truthful to ourselves and say, okay, you know what? I am getting in my own way. Those are all excuses. Mm-hmm. It's not saying like, oh, well, I've had people say, well, I don't want to leave my parents because they're up there in age. I don't want to leave my kids because they're still in high school. I don't want to relocate them. Okay, have a family meeting. And if you have one that's still in high school and say, well, how would you feel about us just like shaking off and moving? Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to finish my last couple of years. Okay. So then you make the plan and say, well, here's the thing, but in 2 years, I'm out.
Or why do you want to stay? Because sometimes they don't even know. So it's good to ask them in family
True enough.
meetings like that. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you. But I was
No,
going
that's
through
okay.
something like that with somebody I know. And then I said, but why do they not want to leave? It'll be a good experience. It's a whole new area. Oh, I don't know. Maybe he don't want to leave his friends. Ask him, because his probably just his fears. He probably does want to change, but it's his fears that are holding him back. And you as the adult have to find out. You're not. That's what it's all about. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Hello,
No,
Tina.
don't apologize. This is your life is your life. Your parents' life is their life, your children's life, your spouse, your significant other, your sibling, like anybody that's in your world, they all have their own life. Now, everybody does affect everybody, but you still have to be very clear about what it is that you want. So let's use that same scenario. Let's say that you want to go and you do have a child that is younger, and you say to them, I need to get out of here. Like, I'm done with this era. I want to move. And they say, I don't want to leave yet. I have 2 more years of school. And I want to finish up. I don't want to leave my friends. Okay. So you sit down with them. Now their life is their life, but they're underage and but you could sit there and say, all right, here's the deal. The deal is this: we will stay for the 2 years for you, but as soon as you graduate, I'm relocating. Like, the house is going to go for sale or whatever. You could choose to come with, or you could go off to college and do your thing or whatever. And then when that time comes, you hold yourself accountable and you hold your child accountable. Because if that child turns around and says, well, I don't really want to move, but I love this house and I don't want you to go, and I want to be able to come back here when I go off to college, it is no longer about them. And if you make it about them,
You're never going to move forward.
and then you use it as an excuse, and then you say, well, I never did this. Like, there's been something that's been brewing in my life for many years. And it's finally culminating, and I'll talk about this probably next week or something like that. But when I look back at it, though, I like to say that it's been about a 7-year transition. But really it's been 10. When I actually started to review all this, like when I started to really follow our protocol here that we were going over, which I've been doing for years anyway. But you have to check in with yourself. Just because you've said, what am I not hearing, seeing, feeling, saying, doing? You still have to check in and make sure that you're still, every year, every quarter, every month, am I still doing this? Because we could get stagnant we grow here and then we stay here for a while. So I had to look back and say, oh my God, mine has been actually 10 years. Like, had I stepped up, I just wasn't in that space. I wasn't brave enough to do that. I was very traumatized, very living in fear. And had I stepped up, this whole change would have occurred 10 years ago. And so I look at that and I can harp on it and go, God, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, 42. I would have been like, 42 is different than 52. But I can't view it that way. I cannot say, oh, you know what? If I had only done this 10 years ago, I didn't. And I don't know where I would have been. And I could tell you, I probably wouldn't have been here, because me staying in the area that I'm staying in allowed me to meet Gladiator Guru. And so we would have never had this show. We would have never connected, I mean,
Yeah.
if fate had it, if God had it that way, then we would have. But the likelihood would have been, there would have been less of a scenario. So everything happens for a reason. There's no point in looking back going, oh my God, look what happened to the last 20 freaking years of my life. Don't do that to yourself.
No,
Just
because it's
say
gone.
now.
There's nothing there for you anymore.
Right.
But I wanna piggyback on what she was saying. Because she gave a good scenario. Now, I think kids need to be molded. Kids think they're grown. And I had a conversation yesterday with somebody, and I'm like, Maron. And then I come out being mean. Well, I have the best relationships with my 2 kids. And I was that mother that will whip their ass in a heartbeat. You acted out in the store, we ain't waiting to get home. I was that, because they had to learn right then and there. You have to learn, if you behave this way, This is what you get. So don't think because we're out, you're going to show your ass. And then life gets busy from that moment to by the time we get home and I got to cook and do something and it's forgotten. No. So I think that women, this particular one, couldn't make decisions for herself. So her children were like in this chaos, right? And then she decided it's time, I want to leave, but I can't because my kids don't want to. Are you using your kids as an excuse? You don't made them live through probably awful times. Now they're confused and they're afraid. So of course they're not going to want to make a change the way you didn't make a change prior to all of this happening. So really, if they're underage, you have to speak to them. This is what we're going to do. This is where we're moving, and we're all going to adjust to it together, because sometimes children don't know. And then the person who's needing the change at that moment really will use that as an excuse not to make the change and stay in danger or stay in unhappiness. And whether that all that storm is brewing, find the center of the storm and sit in it. Don't fight it. Sit in it. Because it will finish. It will slow down. It will stop. But you'll still be there solidly. And you would have faced it all. It's like when you have problems, you got to sit with them. You can't ignore them. You can't run from them. You got to sit with them and search the solution, because for every problem, there's a solution. You know how there's negative people that are like, for every solution, there's a problem. Well, you know what? Fuck them. For every problem, there's a solution.
There is. The problem is that we don't want to admit the solution. That's the problem. There's always a solution. It just might not be what we want. Sometimes the solution means that you just have to get the hell out. Sometimes the solution is you have to quit the job. Like sometimes we'll say, well, I don't like my job and I can't find another job, but I'm not going to quit my job until I find another job. And then that job drive is making you sick. It's making you unhappy. You're miserable. And you keep saying, well, I'm not going to quit until I find another job. Well, you know what? Sometimes divine intervention jumps in and gets you sick so that you have to stay out of the job. Then they fire you because, and this is what happens. And we wait because we're like, we wait. We want it to be perfect. And sometimes God is trying to say to us, it's not going to be. I just need you to know that you trust in me and you take that leap. I had a friend of mine when I was teaching. The school was bought out. It was privately owned and it was bought out by a company. And for years, the company was fine. They were wonderful to work with. But then they started to up the ante a little bit. Like they started to buy more schools. They started to get more in debt. So they wanted this expectation of all the schools. They wanted X amount of enrollment. So the admission people, they started to get a lot of pressure to get people in, right? And there was this horrible divisional or regional supervisor. He took care of like the East Coast. And this guy was so toxic. Like he should have been nailed by the labor board with the way that he was speaking to his admission reps. I would see the emails come in. One of the reps would show it to me and it was appalling. Like this man literally was breaking all the rules. And I kept saying, I don't know why anybody's not reporting him. So anyway, this one woman who was wonderful, she had been with the school for like 20 years as an admission rep since she was young. And he was on her. And she was like getting stomach aches. She couldn't eat. She was losing weight. And finally, he just said to her one day, I want you out. I don't want you here anymore because you're not holding what your own. I want you out. I want you out. And he just kept tormenting her because he didn't want to fire her. He wanted her to quit. So we'd have conversations. She's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've never had this. I've had this job for 20 years, blah, blah, blah. I'm really good at it. I want to leave. I love this place, but I'm so miserable. And I was one of the people that said, well, why don't you just wait till he fires you? Then you can, whatever. But she ends up quitting. And I'm so glad she did what was right for her. She quit. And within a week, she said, oh my God, I feel so much better. I don't even care that I didn't, I'm like, I just got to pick up another job. She ended up getting a job as a horticulturist at like a landscaping, like garden place. And loving her life, like loving her life. It was calming. It was just absolutely fantastic. And so she she had to finally choose herself. She says, I can't do this anymore. And it ended up working out fine because the company ended up imploding and they got bought out by another company, and then they just completely broke away the school in general. So it just was this this piece where she finally said, I can't do this anymore. My life and my health and my well-being is worth more.
Yeah, but and I understand it. And maybe it's because that was never my gig. Maybe because when I was born, I don't know. Because I it's not that I don't empathize with people like that. I don't understand how you go through so much abuse, get sick physically, and then you're forced to make a change. And then it's like, it's an awakening. I'm happy they received the awakening. My question is, when you're being treated horribly, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your neighbors, whether it's your job, whether it's your school, whether it's your friends, your so-called friends, when you're questioning, what's that song? Should I go or should I
Should I
stay?
stay or should I go?
Ask yourself, how much am I worth? Not them, not anybody. How much is your value to you? And if you can't come up with a number that's empowering, then that's exactly what you're letting all of them know. You
Yeah,
got to take accountability for how people treat you, how they speak to you, how they move away when you're coming through. The bottom line out of everything we're teaching, and you know what, I do get passionate about this subject because I've seen a lot of abuse, and that I'm that nosy motherfucker. If I'm your friend and I see you getting mistreated, I'm gonna be like, speak up, or do you need me to speak up for you? And because I hate it.
me too.
I hate it. And I'm not going to I hate bullying of any type.
Yep.
So my question to anybody having, like Iris, I just saw what you wrote and we really didn't have a discussion about that. Like, what was it that somebody said to you? Maybe Iris didn't tell me because she knows how I am. People make comments and you could either take it and be like, oh my God, or you can say, oh my God, I must be important if they're thinking about me. So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who the hell said this or that about you, who tries to trip you when you try to make a step towards an abundant life for yourself, because they're going to be those haters. There's going to be those insecure people that can't do it for themselves, so they're going to try to trip you up. Don't take it personal, because it's not about you. It's their lack of. But we take it personal and we inhale it and we chew on it until all the flavor's gone, and then we stick it back in our ear. And then whenever we get nervous again, we pull it back out and we're at it again. Spit it out. Spit it the fuck out. If you're not going to swallow it, why waste your time chewing it? And that's all about the cultivation of self. And that's why we did all of this. You got to learn who you are, because you know what? That warrior is in there. It's in there. It's in all of us. None of us were born with these special gifts of telling people to go fuck themselves. I just learned mine at an early age. But it's in all of us. And you don't have to be raw and ghetto. You can say it in a way, because I behave accordingly. I could be in the White House and say it with my little hat on. And it's going to sound different than when I'm in the hood, but the meaning is always going to be the same. They're going to get what I'm saying, and they're going to know. You got to learn how to value yourself. It doesn't matter if you're overweight. It doesn't matter if you're underweight. It doesn't matter if you live in a studio apartment or a 5-bedroom house. It doesn't matter if you take the bus or you drive a Tesla. It doesn't matter where your status is on the outside of your life. It's who you are within, who you honor within, who you value. Every time we say namaste on this show, it means I honor the spirit within you as I honor the one within myself. So every time we come on Viva Cafe con Leche and we see everybody come on, we are genuinely excited. Not because we have viewers, but because you are taking the time out of your day to learn a word, learn a phrase, or laugh. Because you took the time to say, I'm going to give this much. Like Chanel had to sign off. She always signs off because she has a job, right? So, but she always lets us know, and I love that because she's honoring her life, her schedule, and she's also giving us the honor to say, I've been watching, but I'm off now. Love you. You see, it didn't cost her anything, but it enriched the badass Buddha in her. Value. When you value every ounce of yourself, then it doesn't feel like you're giving anything away. It feels like you're sharing. And that's like when you share from the heart, when you have that intentional gratification within, it boomerangs back to you. So make decisions, fuck up, fall down, stand up, keep going, trip, do it all, because that's how you learn what your endurance is. That's how you learn what you are capable, what gauge of pain you can hold, and how much through your pain you can still open your heart and give. That's how you're going to learn, through trials and tribulations, mi gente. You can't not be born with a silver spoon and know what it is to suffer and hurt and lose and get back up and do it all over again and be like, all right, I'm going to take a leap of faith because this shit hurt last time, but it might be a little stronger this time. You know, we all go through it. The badass Buddha made decisions. She's carrying it out. I can't wait for her to share that. I had one decision to make on my own. I'm always impulsive, spontaneous. I don't give a fuck type of person. Everybody who knows me knows that. But I was so indecisive for about a whole month and it was driving me bananas. But I had to do it because I had to see, ooh, I'm a badass motherfucker. And that's how you got to think about yourself. Go ahead, badass.
You know, it's important too to understand that, you know, Gladiator Guru's always kind of had that. She always talks about how she was born with that sword. And for those of us that weren't that way, you know, that we established a certain element of our personality early on, and people have sort of bullied us or directed us, or however way you want to call it, or whatever way you want to say it. And we have to understand that it's going to take greater courage for us to stand up for ourselves, because when we do make that decision for ourselves and say, no more, no mas, this is how it's going to be. This is how it's going to be for me. And when they start, so when you say, when you admit to yourself, what am I truly not doing? And then you decide, this is what I'm going to do. There will always be resistance because you have trained everybody around you to treat you a certain way, to understand you a certain way, to see how you fit into their lives a certain way. And you're going to get the barrage of questions. Well, why are you doing that? Well, that's not going to be good, blah, blah, blah. And you have got to just power through and know that this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. And don't either answer the questions or limit your response or just say,
or laugh, smile.
I go. And that, I think that's the hardest piece, is that when people start putting up their fears on you and they start causing you, like putting things into your head, and you start second guessing yourself, and then you take that step back, and then they won. And it's not that they're trying to win necessarily. It's just that their fears
want you to win.
They don't want, they don't want you to change because it's going to affect them in some way.
Yes.
So we want you to get to the point where you say, you know what? I'm so done with that scenario. I'm so done with that I love you. But if you love me, you're also going to want me to do the things that I want to do, not what's convenient for you. And that's the other thing that you have to look at this. When you look at the big review and you say, what am I not seeing? What am I not saying? What am I not doing? What am I not feeling? What am I not hearing? Does it all have to, is it all connected? Is it also connected to the people in your life, your life that are giving you reasons not to do these things, not to see these things? Because if you do, you will have to make a change and it's going to affect them. and they don't want it to affect them. And because you've already set the standard of saying, well, they just do whatever I want them to do, so I'm going to really put the pressure on them when they start showing me that they're getting stronger. Because I've seen this myself, like within my own personal life, is the moment you start to really get stronger, the moment you start to do things above and beyond what you've never done before, there's certain people around you that are going to really come at you. They're going to try to get louder. They're going to try to get more in your face. They're going to try to bombard you with questions, and they're going to demand answers. And guess what? You don't have to give them an answer at all. And if you don't have an answer, don't let them bully you. You just say, you know what? I haven't.
Because I felt like it. Because don't even say, you know what? I'm like, because I feel like it. What?
Yeah.
You know, there's a movie I was talking to the badass about. Point of No Return. It's old. And Bridget Fonda was trained as a mercenary, and she was having a hard time, and she learned how to just say, I never did let the little things bother me. With a smile. That's hard in itself. But learn how to say that. You don't have to give nobody explanations, because then you start losing your power. It's like when the wind faces certain things and then it just blah. You know, I can talk about orgasms, but then I'm not, because we're at the end of the hour. We're not going to talk about what happens when it's like boop, but don't let that happen. People will put everything. I back up everything the badass Buddha just said. Because people will try to bully you, but it's because of their shortcomings. And that's why I said earlier, I am not responsible for the issues you're dealing with. Don't bring that shit to me.
That's right.
Don't bring it to me. You know, you go handle all your stuff. Go fold your own fucking laundry, because mine is already thrown inside the bucket. Don't worry about how I fold my laundry. No, I don't fold my laundry. I don't organize my socks by color. That's your gig, not mine. And the thing is, when they try to impose, and it's absolutely sure, it's not because you're changing, it's because you're changing for what they need you for.
That's right. That's right.
So
and that's only sustainable for so long.
It is.
The resentment will kick in. You'll look back and go, you'll have regret. You know, we talk about that so often on the show. We talk about the fact that we've known people who have worked in nursing homes where they have had conversations with elderly people who have all their faculties, and they say, listen, I'm going to give you advice. Do not regret your life. Do as much as you can, because then you get to an age where you can't do it anymore. You know, we always say, don't worry about age, don't worry about this, but let's be realistic. There is a point where it is harder to do things after a certain age. Are we going to wait until we physically can't do it anymore and then go, oh God, I regret that I didn't do this sooner. You know, I wanted to walk the Camino, but now I can't because I can barely move and I'm hurting all the time, and I should have done that years ago. That's what we do. We wait. We think we have all the time in the world. We think we'll be in perfect health. We think we'll be, and yet we don't do anything to keep ourselves in those, you know, like if you're taking care of yourself, I get that. Then you could say, well, I do. I take care of myself. I move. I eat well. I monitor my stress levels. Then I get that. But for those of us out there that are not eating well, to barely move around, and then act surprised when something happens a few years later, and we're like, I don't know how this happened. And then you say, now I can't do this. So it's you really have to look at this and say, okay, you know what? I've really got to look at this and say, you know, I do have limited time. I do have, and if my resources are limited, what the hell could I do about that? If I want to travel to another state and just get away for a little while, why can't I? Oh, well, I can't afford, you know, the airfare, or I don't like flying in planes. They get in a fucking car and drive. Oh, but I don't like see if somebody will go with you. Like you just make it happen.
Yeah, that's a lot of talking. I would be like, well, when you figure your shit out, then come talk to me. Because you know, through our conversations, I hate the word but, because it erases everything you said prior to that. You know, so, oh, but it's so good, but, and then it's like, that's all you hear is but. So everything positive you said before the but, and now you're going to tell me what it is. You just spit on all the good stuff. Change it to yet. But, you know.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Can we just comment on what, because this has been important before we sign off. You need to put this, and this is very true. Yalitza says, because they're not used to the new you and they don't like it. And then she put, but it's hurtful. Yes. You know when it's hurtful, Yalitza? When you're still in the process. But when you get to a certain level, you really, really do get to that point where you're like, I really don't give a fuck what you have to say. I really don't I don't care, because that is not me. That is you. That is your problem, not mine. And little by little, you will get there. You, my dear, are the beautiful, you are just that butterfly that came out of that cocoon. Your wings are still wet. You're still unfolding your wings. And it could take you a while. Part of it is environment. I will tell you that environment definitely plays a huge role. The more you get away from that environment, the easier it is, because after a while, you're going to say, I really don't give a shit what you have to say. And if somebody has a problem with it, then that's their problem. The thing is, though, environment makes it easier for them to get loud and in your ear and constantly say things to you and make things obvious, like in front of you. So you will get there, though, because it's just little by little. It's just going to happen. And when they do hurt you, you have to analyze yourself and say, okay, why did I let this bother me? What is it that they say that triggered me? And is that the piece that I still need to work on? Is it true? Are what they saying, is it true? Because sometimes they do say some truth, and that's why we don't like to hear it, because we're thinking, oh, I'm working on myself. But then they come back at something and like, fuck, I still have to work on that piece. But then you're going to get to a point where they say something and you analyze it. You go, you know what? Screw that. That was not true. That's totally them. And I don't want to hear it anymore. And then you will rise to that level. Those wings will spread out and you will fly.
Yeah, but Iris, you got to remember, everything you do, you got to do for you. We've had this conversation. People are going to be mad because they don't understand why you're expanding your wings. They're still in the cocoon, halfway in, halfway out. So when you are, I thought you wanted me, stop. We have to stop. If we are going to blossom into the garden we're meant to be through all that transition, why are we worrying? Why are we allowing other people's negativity to upset us? It could affect you, but don't let it upset you to where you're questioning, but I thought they wanted this for me. You know, and Iris, and
that's putting them into the power. You're giving them the power. I thought you're doing it because you thought they wanted you to do it.
No, she's worrying about why they're complaining that she's traveling.
No, I understand. I'm just playing on the word, because when we say, I thought you wanted me, you're giving them the power. You're saying, well, it has nothing to do with what the hell they wanted. They could say all they want. It's about what you wanted, baby girl. That's what it's about.
And the bottom line is, I know we're going over and people are starting to log off, is that we must live the one life that we have been giving with intentions, with gratitude and kindness, and doing what it is that's good for your life. You can still do whatever you want and be the black sheep of your family, but you can still give somebody the shirt off your back, because if that's your nature, you can still say please and thank you. And you can still say, I know you don't agree with how I'm living my life, but I still love you. Doesn't mean you're mean. Doesn't mean you cut them all off unless they need to be. But it means that you are living your life in your power, in your courage. So whatever happens, you are the only one held accountable.
Yep.
But we got to get out of that. Because, I mean, we'll do a whole other show. Because there's people that don't want to do that, because they want to blame everybody else, because they haven't come face to face with who they are.
Yep.
So let me know where you're at, and I'll tell you what you're doing. Let me know who you are, how you're living, and then I'll tell you. And that's how it is. You have to mirror effect. And if you can't look at the reflection in your mirror, then talk to somebody. There's coaches, there's therapists, there's strangers at a bar or at a park. Just do it. But get it out this way so it can go back in this way, and you can have that light bulb go on and say, oh shit, I got to change this. Or, oh shit, I got to get away from that environment. The choice is always yours. Always yours. No matter what scenario, it is always your choice to stay in or get the fuck out.
That's right. And we will leave on that note. So thank you everybody for coming on. Remember, Thursday is Take the Leap. We're going to culminate everything that we discussed this whole entire month, and we're going to put you on the spot. And we're going to talk about what is it? What leap are you going to take? Is it a small one? Is it a big one? Is it multiple leaps? We want to know. So get ready for that show, but also a reminder that because of the impending hurricane that is coming, Thursday's show might have to be canceled if Gladiator Guru loses power, because I will be flying to California and she's going to be on with guest host Melissa Rusiano. So if Thursday's show is non-existent and it's canceled, we will move Take the Leap to the October 4th date. And so get ready, though. Get your stuff ready and start working on your stuff. You have 2 days and hopefully you've been working on it the whole time. So anyway, from the Badass Buddha, we're out. And remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And for today's show, I'm going to say, breathe in your beauty and breathe out their bullshit. Namaste.